White, Jaylen Brown in the first half really were like lighting up. They did a lot of scoring in the first half. But this game turned in the second half when Joe finally made the decision that me and you have been clamoring for at least this whole series. Porzingis just can't be out there right now. And it sucks that he's sick.
Like, he's just super consistent and always going to make the right play. And like 9 out of 10 times it's going to work out. And when you're that big and like working that hard, a lot of guys just don't want to fuck with it. And I think it's helping too, where it's a change of pace in that the Celtics are so used to playing 5 out and the Knicks are so used to defending 5 out, where everyone's a shooter. You kind of go through each guy and talk about how they stepped up. I think that's kind of the point, is how it really was total team effort. Whereas like everyone stepped up, but no one stepped out of their own lane. It was like everyone just did a little bit more and all kind of combined to pull the extra weight as a total team, and you saw that.
Screws loose, they don't strip the bolts on them. Should've never sent them to pick up the work for them. Sprayed the park and had my shit inside the car. Marcus Smart boy was shooting with a 36 on him. Said if he wasn't in the rush, they was all goners.
All right. Greetings, Chudlings. Welcome to another episode of Chuddy's Corner. It is Wednesday, May 14th, and the Celtics will not go quietly into the night. 127-102. Big win over the Knicks at home. Game 5. Elimination game. Backs to the wall. No Tatum. We're going to get into the injury update. We obviously got the news we were all dying for. But this episode tonight is going to have a little bit of a different tone than the last episode, because this game was fucking awesome. Start to finish, super competitive game. Second half, Celtics started to pull away, which is a whole nother entertainment value. We're going to get into all. First, Chud, I'm happy to ask you this time, how are you feeling today?
Definitely better. That was like some chicken soup for the soul almost tonight. I feel like all of Celtics Nation needed that. And you could even feel like in the Garden, it was like the crowd was so dead. It was mostly Knicks fans, and I couldn't even blame them. I couldn't even be mad, because I was like, I can't imagine being at this game, how I would feel. How do you get yourself to stand there and cheer? But credit to the team for coming out, giving them that performance. Got the crowd into it. The crowd got going. And again, it just felt like the whole city was behind them. And feeling a lot better, if you can't tell.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. You're right, too. The beginning of this game, it did not look good. The Garden was absolute. It was like a crypt. It literally was like New York. At one point, I was like going in and out of like the kitchen. It's like I would be hearing stuff and it'd be like, oh, what happened? They're cheering. And it was like, oh, the Knicks just did something sick. So, turning around, obviously, the second half. I think the only logical, I mean, I'd say there's a bunch of guys that really stepped up tonight. But I think, in fairness, we have to start with Luke Kornet. Derrick White, Jaylen Brown in the first half really were like lighting up. They did a lot of scoring in the first half. But this game turned in the second half when Joe finally made the decision that me and you have been clamoring for at least this whole series. Porzingis just can't be out there right now. And it sucks that he's sick. And it's like, you hate that it's like something like that. You know, I'd almost feel better about it if it was just, he just stinks.
Sprained ankle. Oh, well, yeah.
Right. If it was like sprained ankle. But right now he does just kind of stink because of this, stamina thing. I don't know what it is. Luke gets out there. Instant rim protection. He's got 7 blocks tonight. He had 10 points. He had 9 rebounds. He almost had a triple-double with blocks. Monster game by Luke. Just literally everywhere. He's getting blocks in the paint, on the 3-point line, absolutely everywhere. This as much as the first half, and we'll talk about, Jaylen and Derrick White really lighting it up early on the scoreboard wise. Luke Kornet, I mean, what the fuck? That was so sick. So glad Joe finally did it. I'm kind of curious if I don't think we'll get any answers tonight about, if Porzingis if it was just like, hey man, you're not going back in. Maybe even Porzingis was like, I just don't have it, and we're backs to the wall. Like, go to Luke. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be sort of like a movie. But what'd you make of Luke tonight?
I mean, he was obviously
all right,
incredible, but no, I mean, as obviously Luke was awesome, but it really was more about the decision, and I feel like his great play just kind of magnified how bad Porzingis' play was to me. Like, to me, it almost wasn't even about Luke in at first. It was after that first half. It's just like Porzingis is literally unplayable. He's so bad. Yeah. And it was evident immediately out of the gates. Luke came in for his first substitution, immediately got a rebound, got a tip back right away. I was just like a breath of fresh air. Went back to Porzingis, which was almost unfathomable. At halftime, I think Porzingis had 1 point, 1 rebound, and he's on minus 14.
Luke
had played half the minutes. And I was just like, at a certain point, again, I feel almost bad for him because he's obviously trying his hardest to gut through this, but it's just like, it's so brutal. And again, he's kind of almost doing a disservice to himself. And then at that point, it's like you said, I mean, I would highly doubt he's the one who said it. And it's like, that's the tough spot. He's not going to be like, yo, don't play me. Or play me for a minute. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's going to go down fighting as hard as he can.
It might just be that I just watched Remember the Titans when, what's his name, gave PD, he said, if you want him to go in the game, you got to go tell him yourself.
Sure.
I can picture Joe doing that.
No,
but
I'm pretty sure that's not what happened. But again, credit to Joe for
can
making
we just
the
say
adjustment.
that's what happened? I like that.
Well, maybe it is. We'll find out. But again, I think it's like you have to save Porzingis from himself type of situation. And I feel bad that it came to this. And he's obviously getting ripped on because it's so glaring. So better late than never. Again, yeah, obviously wish it was sooner. But he was just so brutal out there on both ends, adding absolutely nothing and just looking so off. And it was like he got an open three. The ugliest brick off the side of the rim you'll ever see. He got the ball in a mismatch at the foul line with Brunson. He took one dribble, and the guy came in and stripped it away from him. They got him down low on a backup, and he just botched an open layup. He's a step late on every block shot attempt. They're just scoring on him, and he's not pulling in any rebounds. It's like, I was ready to put in Keita over this. Like, seriously, it was that bad. I couldn't believe there was. No, I'm not even joking. I would say Keita at least will get rebounds and putbacks.
No, yeah.
It couldn't have been.
Well, that was the thing
really
too. You absolutely noticed Mitchell Robinson was just a non-factor. I'd say
exactly.
If he finally starts to hit his free throws, and it's like, well, all right, all the other stuff that we were fouling before anyway, you're not really able to do with Luke out there.
I'll take the trade of him making free throws, but everything else going away.
Yeah, exactly. But everything else is gone.
No, I mean, and again, so to me, it was really just the decision not to play Porzingis because even without Luke, it was just like the team just playing. Everyone's playing so well. We're so much better than them, and it's like then Porzingis comes in and just drags everything back down. So I hate to make it all about one guy, and again, especially when he's clearly trying to play through this thing. So thank goodness the team made the decision. Like you said, I'm sure they're not going to announce anything. And in terms of gamesmanship, there's no reason they would. But you have to imagine it's Luke starting at center next game and going forward playing the bulk of minutes. It seemed pretty clear they got the message in the second half as Porzingis didn't see the court. And there was no update of an injury or anything. I think it's just what you said. I think he was watching the same game we were and seeing there's enough smart coaches in that huddle. Joe's a stubborn guy, but they're not stupid. I think they can look and be like, we're 24 minutes away from our fucking season being over. One guy fights him, and the other guy is a shell of himself and can barely get up and down the court and jump. So they did what they had to do. I know I barely even talked about Luke, but I feel like really it was the decision. And it was
it's a ballsy decision too. It's like an awkward. Yeah, it's obviously an awkward
especially
thing. Porzingis is a well-established player. He's been the starter all year.
Making over 30
and again, it's not. And I don't like how much people are shitting on Porzingis because about that. It's because to me, you're right. It's more about the decision. If he's out there, if he's ready to play, it's the coaches kind of thing. So it's been our knock the whole time on Joe. Yeah, it's been our knock on Joe the whole time this series. That's a change he had to go to. He finally did. But I don't really think it's fair to shit on Porzingis because he's out there trying.
No.
You know, if he wasn't playing, there would be people being like, "What the fuck? We need him out there." So it's he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. So. Yeah, I don't want to shit on Porzingis, but it is. It's that switch is all the difference. I just don't know if he can be out there. And
he can't.
He says a lot of the good things about team basketball and all this stuff. I think this is a chance to show it too, because it's if you actually are all about the team, all this, then
Joe or Kristaps?
Kristaps
has that. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel he always.
I don't think he's going to be a bad sport about it or anything.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not. Hold on. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just this is a kind of a chance for it's easy to say how I just love the team stuff here and stuff like that. And now to do what he did there, and I'm sure in his press conference, he's not going to be bitching or anything. So it's right. I don't think we should be shitting on him because he's doing it. It's a shitty situation.
For sure.
So far,
and I want to be clear.
Well.
The only reason for the shitting has been just that he's so bad on the court, which again, I'm not blaming him, but it's just the reality of the situation. We're losing these games and he's at least if you're going to single out a player, he's the biggest reason why. So it's just frustrating to see it reached a certain point again. By halftime, I was I guess we're just going down with the ship here. And I'm starting to think in my mind, are we just saving face for his potential trade value? And I was really, that's how this is going to end? That's awful. So I'm just glad they made the decision. And then, so I'm imagining again, barring him waking up and magically feeling better, he's probably done for the series. And I think that's a great thing for the Celtics. And again, I wish it happened sooner because man, to transition that into Luke, just unbelievable. just unbelievable. And again, even more than like what he's doing, it's just the way he's playing, the energy and the pace that is so noticeable in the shift because Porzingis is just so lethargic. So it's like, I'll live with Luke making some plays and some guys, making shots over him when he's giving you this much effort, energy. The rebounding has been a problem.
I don't think that many people are making a ton of shots over. I mean, he was
right, but I'm saying even in general, like it's more
right.
Barring this, even if we just get an average Luke performance, that would have been such an upgrade. Like that's why it was such an obvious.
Yeah, well, because they can run. There's just better pace. Everything's faster.
Exactly.
Everything's just moving faster.
Exactly.
Luke is just everywhere.
He's setting screens. He's flying to the rim. He's jumping up for putbacks. He's getting rebounds. And even more than that, he's doing something else that you just never really see Porzingis do, and Al's kind of too small to do. Whereas when he's not pulling down the rebounds, he's at least keeping Robinson off the glass, like you were alluding to earlier. Like it's not going to show up in the stat sheet, but go back and watch how many of those plays where he's just doing a solid box out, taking Robinson out of the play, and Holiday, White, Brown, someone else is coming in and actually cleaning up the glass, getting the rebound. But that's what you need. It's like you got to keep this fucking monster away from the glass, and then trust the other guys to come in and gang rebound. That's what they did, and that's what you need to do against this team and against Robinson. Credit to him, he's been such a beast. But to see Luke again, not only give us what he is on the offensive end, also being able to neutralize Robinson and their offensive rebounding, which has been the biggest weapon of the Knicks. It's like, this started off again as one of those Taco Fall, Scalabrini situations. No, Luke straight up, like, again, Jaylen and White were probably the two best players in the game, but Kornet was right as like the third, fourth best player on the entire floor. You could easily argue he was better. For him to have that performance in a playoff game, I'm just so happy for him after the season he's had, where again, we kind of had become a talking point for us. Like, okay, once the playoffs start, is he still going to be in the rotation? I feel like he has been, but certainly to a much lesser extent, obviously, than he was during the regular season.
Yeah.
And I feel like he straight up earned the spot. I'm glad he finally got it. And to see him come through like that, like, just so excited for him, for the Celtics, for the whole situation. And again, I hope, obviously, this can keep rolling, but even no matter what happens, I mean, game of a lifetime for Luke. 7 block shots is just hilarious. The points had that monstrous reverse dunk was unreal, and just some crazy blocks, swatting the shit out of everything. And I mean, like you said, him starting, it was like that just sparked everything. Tie game, win that quarter by 15. He played every single minute of it. I tweeted out half jokingly, at this point, it's just about surviving the non-Luke minutes, but it was like not really a joke. And I think he only sat for like 2 or 3 minutes because Al picked up that quick fifth foul. He came right back in. He probably played 20-something minutes in the second half. He looks like
do you think he's going to be in down this? So if Al's not in foul trouble, do you think he's in down the stretch for Game 6? Or
I honestly think Joe wants to go double big. I think he might play. He could just play both. It depends who's out there and who's hot out of like. Because Pritchard could. You could really go with anyone of like either Pritchard or Kornet. I think can be the fifth guy with obviously Jaylen, White, Drew. Al.
It just was kind of tonight with Al.
Yeah, and it didn't really come to crunch time. But I mean, Joe's shown sometimes to his detriment with all the Porzingis that he really wants to play double big. So when you got Kornet playing this well at center. And I mean, you can see the trickle effect. Al looks fresher. Al's, doesn't have to bang down there. Like he can do it, but asking Al to play center against a team with talent,
it just isn't working. It just hasn't been working.
Well, that's what I mean. But I think it's just asking too much. He can do it for 20 minutes, but 40 minutes a night in the playoffs against a good team. It's just like, damn, he needs some relief. And Kornet is giving it to him and then some. So unreal showing. Happy in like a micro sense about everything that happened in this game, and happy in a macro sense for Luke and his future, hopefully with the Celtics. But I mean, again, if this was a little bit of like a passing of the torch almost, as if let's say Porzingis is done, this could be the last time we ever see him in a Celtics uniform. Like you got to feel pretty decent about that torch pass, which we've kind of, again, not been clamoring for, but saying like, elevate Luke to a starting center next year. He's earned it. We have to save money. Like to me, that'd be a no brainer that people would probably be freaking out about. It's like, he's a totally fine starting center.
That kind of brings you. That kind of takes me to the other point that's sort of funny with like kind of, and I think that some of the we're going. It's Celtics in 7, so we're saving. If you're here to talk about what happens next year, we ain't there yet. But I do, to your point, I do think like a lot of people when we would say to them, I've said to people before like, oh, like Luke Kornet needs to play more, and they're kind of like, oh, like they don't. It's like what the hell? Like if you haven't watched the Celtics like every game or listen to Chuddy's Corner after every Celtics game, you might not realize it, but this is like what Luke is. This is like this wasn't like Luke didn't just have it wasn't like Leon Poe in the finals where it's just like he had this fucking monster game and it's like we'll always have that like that sick game he had. Still a good player, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
this is Luke. Like, he's
Right.
gotten better, and he still, I think, has more, like,
Definitely.
more room to grow.
Definitely.
Like, I think so. It's absolutely a possibility moving forward. I think as far as this series goes, he does have to be the guy. I want him to be the guy.
I think
Yeah,
it's almost like negligent to play Porzingis after watching that.
It completely shut off everything, because
if the only thing
Knicks,
you're trying to do is win the series, I don't know how you can play him.
Yeah, and it's like the Knicks. Again, we've talked about it. It's not like their offense was figuring us out. It's just they're getting these offensive rebounds and shit like that.
Right.
Like, it wasn't so. I don't know. They have to stick with Luke. We could honestly talk all night about Luke, but I do. Yeah.
No,
I mean, I will. Tell me I won't.
It's justified. No, I mean, this was right into you already mentioned Leon Poe, but it was like shades of the Kelly Olynyk game in that game 7. Like every random Celtics
but I
guy
think that
stepping
Luke
up
could
tonight.
just be this.
100%. He hasn't got the chance to, so it seems like that. And obviously, every night he's not going to flirt with a triple-double with blocks, but he is going to give you that kind of steady production. And he's the kind of guy who, when he has a bad play, it looks bad because he's a big-ass, goofy guy, who's sweating all over the place. So it's just like, it's easy to kind of make fun of his shortcomings, but he's just super consistent and always going to make the right play. And 9 out of 10 times, it's going to work out. And when you're that big and working that hard, a lot of guys just don't want to fuck with it. And I think it's helping too, where it's a change of pace in that the Celtics are so used to playing 5 out and the Knicks are so used to defending 5 out, where everyone's a shooter and they're sprinting, trying to run us off the line, this, that, and the other. To have this old school big who's just setting hard ass screens and rolling to the fucking rim and going up every time, it's almost like a little change up move in the series. So I think it's an adjustment for them to be like, oh shit, we have to worry about the fucking rim again. So it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome.
It's
better late than never.
It's the only move we had left to
never.
play, and I'm so glad we did it. I'm just so glad we did it, because it didn't look like we were going to do it. And as we were playing well in the first half, but you could tell it just needed that something, just needed that little something.
Right. And I wonder if I hate to say it, but I wonder if that move happens without the Tatum injury, because it almost feels like that allows Joe to be like, well, we're just playing with house money now. I can try anything. Whereas maybe if Tatum's there, it's a closer game. He can more talk himself.
I mean,
just gotta stick with it, which I kind of hate to think that way, but at the same time,
I definitely don't want to
I don't know,
make this about Joe, but it's kind of just crazy that he didn't.
It shouldn't have taken that long. It shouldn't have taken that long.
It really.
And if they had lost playing Porzingis in the second half, it would have been the biggest thing in the series, I think, other than obviously the injury. But
it's
in terms
all
of
we would be talking about right now.
Yeah,
we would unfortunately have to be crushing Joe and Porzingis.
Yeah,
but tonight we get to talk about how sick Luke was, and we should also talk about how sick Derrick White was. Another monster night. He stepped it up. He came out right away, was red hot, scoring, finished with 34 points, 9 for 16 from the field, 7 for 13 from 3-point. This is, it's it's nice to see he kind of have the green light a little bit more, to kind of be more of just creating a lot of stuff on his own and all that. I kind of like Derrick White in this role. He's going to obviously have to step up. The offensive production we're going to lose without Tatum is going to have to come somewhere. I'm kind of excited to see at least one more game, hopefully 2 more games, hopefully way more after that. This season of Derrick White kind of getting this chance to be a little bit more of just having a little bit more of a green light. Not that he doesn't already, he lets it fly all the time, but you know what I mean? Where it's it felt like he was kind of just coming up being this is my I'm running this play. I'm doing all, it's not he has a great rapport and stuff, but I don't know.
For sure.
What I'm saying makes sense about it felt like he was playing differently, a little differently on offense.
Yes and no. I think he was definitely more involved and more aggressive, but I also think and I mean this as a complimentary, that he was still playing within himself. And I think this is not to bring in Jaylen too, but I think it's fair to talk about them both together, because I think we knew going in, it's at least on offense, it's Jaylen and Derrick now. And I think we knew that they had to step up, and they obviously both did. But to me, it was more about the way they did it, where it wasn't they came out and were I got to go score 40. I'm taking over. I felt like the Celtics still very much played within themselves, followed their identity, and just executed better, which again, it kind of in a one hand sucks that it almost took the Tatum injury for them all to just be this is how we have to play. Because you see, it's not like they couldn't play like that with Tatum, and this would have been a fucking sweep. The series will be over. So it sucks that it took for them to realize it. But again, the way they played tonight, it was Derrick was still, those are almost all open shots. He had the one heat check, which was so weird because he never does that. But other than that, it was still all good shots within the flow of the offense. So yeah, he had the ball more. He was the creator more.
Was
but
the heat check one you were talking about where the ball just bounced right back? So he just
rebound.
flung it back
I
up?
came back and it was like, all right, that was a little.
I looked at the misses. She was kind of going like, "Oh, we've seen him make that a lot. It's fine. It's chill. It's chill."
It was one shot, exactly one shot. Yeah. He had earned it. I think he was like 4 for 4 on 3. So I was like, I'm totally not going to get upset. So yeah, White was great. Totally what you'd expect. Jaylen too, to me, literally one of the best games of his career. I think he had 26, 8 rebounds, 12 assists, which 12 assists is his career high, regular season or postseason. And only did it on 17 shots. Again, I don't think anyone would have blamed Jaylen if he came in here tonight and was like, I'm fucking putting the team on my back and getting 50 points.
I mean, people would have definitely blamed if it didn't go well.
He could have won but he easily could have won the game that way. We've seen him do it before. But for him to go out there and win the game this way and control the game, I just thought he was so patient. His decisions were so good. He was not forcing anything. And also, he just nutted up and made tough fucking shots all night. So this was like vintage Jaylen.
And he had that sick play diving out of bounds, too. He's fucking...
unreal. He was everywhere. And that's the other thing. The defense, too, in terms of another big adjustment to credit Missoula, it was Jaylen on Jaylen. It was Brunson guarding Jaylen. I think that extra length bothered him a lot. And as we've seen before, our Jaylen, plays his best when he's like... starts by getting locked in on defense. Where obviously we all remember what he did to Luka. I think giving him that matchup and sending him out there from the tip is like, all right, you're the fucking dog tonight. Brunson's yours. Take him out of the game. That like gets him fired up and into the game, and we see it accelerated him on the other end because I think he started with a few good plays on defense. He was getting his hands on getting fouls, and then he just starts getting aggressive on that other end. And again, they did a really good job tonight too. I thought about being very intentional with their drives. It's also. So many things from this game were so good, and it's just so frustrating that it took us until Game 5 to do them.
Well, I was just going to say, the way that Jaylen was playing today, and like he absolutely had a monster game for all the reasons that you just said. Like he was playing, wasn't trying to do everything. Like the same way that Luke's play tonight makes how bad Porzingis was stand out more. I feel like Jaylen's play tonight makes like the last 2 games of his, or at least last game, just sort of like, just frustrating because sometimes he does like he kind of gets that like black hole mentality and he's just dribbling and it just turns into some craziness.
No doubt.
So again, there was he could have easily came into the game and been like, I'm going to do it all, but he did do it all just differently. Like it wasn't, I'm just going to go scoring. Like all wasn't just like I need to score for the team. Like the fact, I mean, he didn't. It was Derrick White led the team in scoring. He had the same number of shots as Peyton Pritchard. Like it wasn't like he just went out there like I'm going to just like crank up shots and just.
But at the same time, it was clear that he was like the hub of the offense. Right? Like he was controlling the game without shooting a lot, which is amazing. Yeah, and for him to be able to do that,
that's going to be a nice little like again, we're not talking about next season, but it's something to think about.
Absolutely, and again, I think part of that too, when you say it's so frustrating, but like I think the Porzingis Luke thing is more frustrating because that's just such an obvious like 1-for-1 switch. Whereas the Brown thing, that's a big tangible change when he knows like when you're out there with Tatum, as good as he is, it's like, all right, Tatum's gonna have the ball and be creating like 60% of the time. So every time he gets the ball, there is a little more urgency where it's easier on tonight. Jaylen knows like I'm the guy, I can be patient, I can make the extra pass this time, and the ball is gonna come back to me. Like there is something to be said for playing with that mindset, and he was clearly a little looser. And so, again, obviously, I wish everyone would play like this every single night. It's just one game, but that definitely helps. But to me, again, across the board, those 2 guys, Pritchard, you mentioned, was awesome. Hauser coming back made a difference on both ends. He was great. Really, everyone other than obviously the unfortunate Porzingis minutes, but every single other player who touched the floor, to me, like, not a big on like this old cliches and whatnot. But this is what they say, heart of a champion. Like that was the heart of a champion tonight, showing up, all about pride. I was saying to people before the game, were asking me how I felt, and I was like, I don't know like how I feel, but I feel like we'll know within the first few minutes. Like we'll be able to tell if they're kind of just like our season's over. You saw a fight right away. It took them a little while to get their footing, but you could tell right away, like, all right. And then I kind of, because I almost didn't know how to start off the game watching. I was like, oh, obviously I'm here locked in, but I'm kind of like, I'm not gonna get too into it if they're not too into it.
It felt like the same way the people in the Garden felt. It was like almost like a funeral at first. It's just like because
it was right. It was like, oh, that's nice.
Tatum news, like we're defeated. Yeah. Like it's tough. Like in our heads, obviously, it's like we're gonna go out. We have to be able to think we can still win the series. Like we want them to be, and like, but it was like the game's close. It's the Knicks go up by like 7 or 8, and you're just kind of like the crowd's fucking.
Here we go.
Shitty. Oh my god.
And again, if there was ever a situation where the team like they're down 3-1. They just had the most demoralizing injury. Like, you wouldn't be able, after the whole run they've been on the last 2 years, you wouldn't have been able to blame them if they saw it go and just kind of let go of the rope and were like, fuck it. I'm not saying I would have, like, endorsed it.
I would have been...
But would you have, like, it happens.
There was a point in the game where you started to have to try to figure out how you're going to spin that in your head.
Exactly. So for them to fight back like that, and obviously, like you said, it's Celtics in 7 all the way. But even if they don't win the series, like, I'm just glad that tonight they gave us that fight. It was like, you're not coming in here and fucking knocking us out like that on our floor. So just kudos to everyone across the board, coaches, players. Needed to see it, and honestly, like, made me proud to be a Celtic tonight, for real.
Wow, that's beautiful. No, but you're right. Honestly,
like, I was like, this is what it's all about.
Exactly, and this is like for the people who have been kind of with this team from like the very beginning of the growth stages. It's like this kind of used to be what we had. Just like these scrappy, like no one. It's kind of we found this is the first time in the longest time I know we weren't underdogs in the matchup where you kind of had hilarious. That.
We were even matchups in the game tonight. We weren't even underdogs.
What's that?
We weren't even underdogs tonight, like in this game.
No, that's what I was saying. I know we weren't underdogs in this matchup. So it's like, but it's still we kind of felt that way. You kind of got to put that mask on, and they played fucking great, and it's fun as a fan.
Everyone's talking Knicks Pacers already.
Yeah. I mean, I have tons of text messages that I'd love to get to circle back to on Monday, but we can't put the cart before the horse.
No, for sure not.
Yeah, I mean,
but this was the big one where, again, like I said, it's like are we in for the fight? Because that's a daunting task after seeing Tatum go down, losing 3 games like that in such demoralizing fashion. It says a lot about the character in that locker room where you sit there and you're like, are we really in it to fight and try to do this 3 times in a row right now, like from this position we are in? And from tonight, you got a resounding yes as the message, and that just gets me fired up. And now the next one, that's going to be the toughest one ever to go into game 6.
Just got to win one game, and then it's whatever
Get
happens.
to game 7,
it's
and then
Kevin Millar, And
then they're the ones who are going to be absolutely shitting their pants too. That's the best part. Is like if they have to go back to game 7 after that, like they can say whatever they want, but they definitely have had some.
No way they won't be shitting themselves. Yeah,
exactly,
100%.
And that team would love to shit themselves.
But you just got to win one game. To me, it's not that crazy to think that we can win one game in MSG without Tatum.
It's not. It's not even. I think we even said
you take out everything else we know.
Right, but if you just said one game, every game in a vacuum, our team without Tatum versus them, that's at least a coin flip. It really is.
Yeah.
And again, obviously the odds of doing it 3 times in a row aren't as good. But the odds of each,
that's not the way you think right now.
Right.
That's not the way we think.
Each coin toss is 50-50. You just win one coin toss at a time and don't think about how many in a row. And we saw tonight go out and play well. And obviously the Knicks didn't play well. Got to say that.
Yeah.
I mean,
2 point underdogs. Well, we're talking about the game. Well, we'll get into the next game, but they're 2-point underdogs. I mentioned if we're going to be favored in the next game.
We are?
2-point underdogs. Yeah.
Okay.
We're 2-point dogs.
I'd say that's
I wouldn't be surprised if that's closer to a pick 'em by the time that game starts, too.
Yeah. No, for sure.
But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the Knicks, too, because the Knicks were just, they didn't come in with the mentality they need to have, obviously. They weren't coming in there to, it's almost like, they were almost playing like they kind of felt bad. Like, oh, no. Like, I don't know.
It's funny. It almost reminded me, I forget which series it was last year, but one of the series we played, by the end, the other team was playing like their backups against our starters because of all the injuries and everything. And it almost felt like, I was like, should we be embarrassed that we're just like playing our starters?
Trying so hard,
them? And at a certain point, which was funny because it's like, it's only Tatum. Our team is it's all really good players. Like,
I know,
it felt like we were putting on a G League team, but it's obviously all really good players. But yeah, the same thing. I was like, are the Knicks really feeling good about like running this fucking try-hard shit when we're running out like Pritchard, Hauser, Torrey Craig, Luke, and they're like, all right, you try-hards, like relax.
Yeah,
so
seriously.
But I mean, it's good. I'm excited. The Knicks, I mean, I can't blame them. They had earned the right to kind of mail in a game and save it for MSG, but they've obviously put a lot of pressure on themselves to win the next one.
There's gonna be some nervous energy in that fucking arena.
I can't wait for it. But yeah, I mean, again, Towns loves to foul. Like, it's just insane how much that dude loves to foul. And then he's complaining immediately where it's like, dude, why are you even in it? Why are you even reaching in and, like, daring the refs to call it? Because some of them, then you look at the replay, it's like, maybe it's foul, maybe not. But it's like, when you're constantly in the position and you know that the like why even there's no benefit of trying for a reach in when like Drew Holiday is dribbling outside the 3-point line. It's like why would you even think to do that? So just dumb shit like that, and then constantly with the woe is me reaction of like I've drawn another foul. Like how can this be? And he's just dying to do that. Just keep going at him. So I loved how much they were making a point of it. He got the second. The next play, Jaylen drove right at him. He doesn't move his feet. Get him going. He'll slide right into you. It's a foul every time. And then again, same with Brunson. By Jaylen guarding him, definitely rattled Brunson. I mean, he made some shots. He got it going a little. It was really, honestly, the Josh Hart threes is what kept it from being a 40-point game. So I'm glad we also got the one Josh Hart magnet ball game out of the way because you knew it was coming at some point. So hopefully that was it because he hit 4 or 5 threes at one point. He was like 4 or 5. They were all going down, and it was still like I'll live with it, but it's obviously annoying. And then just really good stuff. And Brunson obviously fouled out, so I'm sure Knicks fans will use the excuse like, yeah, he fouled out, but we were up 22 with 7 minutes left.
And every one of those is like reasonable fouls too. Like he's another guy too. Like what did he do? And like with the amount that he gets us on too. Oh, God.
So that's what I was just gonna say. He was getting into his grifting game. I think he had literally drawn 4 straight fouls, each of which was maybe one of them was a foul.
The Horford one was so bad. Like I don't get how like
they review that, stared at that guy's ghost cam, and decide, yep, that's a foul. Is just have some fucking pride as a man. Like if you're the referee,
both of the challenges we had to use are just ridiculous. That those had to be used like that. That the coach had to intervene and be like, referees, what are you doing?
And that they didn't even overturn that is just so bad.
The first one they did, but the second one that's crazy.
The reffing is brutal, and the fact that he's getting rewarded on that, and it's also like even the one where it is a quote unquote foul, Brunson basically just like sprints into you and dives into you, and like again. I love by the end of the game, White and Al were literally just backing up as fast as they could, and he'll just fall. It's just pulling the chair out because he's just
that's it.
He fall on you, and move out of the way, and he just falls down. Like literally.
Well, that's it. Like he'll go sprinting up the floor, the defender will start to move in his way, and then they'll go to move at, like you said, kind of like trick him into it. And he'll by that point he'll be like, I already was bracing for the contact, so I'm gonna fall, and we're gonna just give you a foul.
And when they fall for it, it's just embarrassing. And if I was a ref, I'd go there, I'd look at the challenge, and I'd be like, wow. You're trying to trick me next. You're not getting me next time. Like, how do they not have more pride? Literally, like
I don't get how they do it again.
Go watch that slow motion and be like, "Fuck, he got me." Aren't you gonna look? Maybe not fall for it every other 4 times in a row. Like Jesus, it's so frustrating. And I also love that he does it like the 3rd time in a row, goes to the free throw line, and Reggie's just like, "This is what the Knicks like to do." I was like, "What? Grift ridiculous fouls and get the bonus?" Like, yeah, everyone likes to do that. If it's like that's
it's
just a ridiculous comment. Like
nobody
so
likes
stupid.
to watch it, but
and then I mean he's just flopping and flailing around on both ends. It's so infuriating. And it sucks because he is so good. He's such a good shot maker. But
that he doesn't. Honestly, I feel like up until tonight,
he'd be so likable if he didn't do it.
I feel like up until tonight, we hadn't really seen a whole lot of it. There'd been a little. There was that. He had another one where he tripped over Al's foot. Like there's been some here and there, but it hasn't been egregious. The start of that 4th quarter, there it was that start of the 3rd, end of the end of the 3rd, start of the 4th-ish.
I think it was
whatever it was where it was like the foul on Derrick White, we sprinted.
It was right before he fouled out in the 4th. But again, I think part of that too. Give credit for the adjustment. Again, I wish it didn't take this long, but Joe putting Jaylen on Brunson was, I think, a great move because Jaylen, he's small, but he has such incredible footwork and he's so strong that if he's not seeing them, it really doesn't bother him. And you're seeing how Drew's doing a great job on him, but it's like he can still just kind of make shots over him. Derrick White, he's borderline bullying, and White obviously is an awesome defender, but Brown, so much length, still has the athleticism, still has the strength. He's not getting moved around there, and I think that's kind of why, because Brunson couldn't get anything going, so all he knew was to go back to his grifting down 20. Like,
that's probably it.
Hope that keeps going. Because
it's a great point about Drew. It's a great point about Drew because I just feel like I've seen a couple times where it's just like he stays in front of him, he plays good defense, does everything, and then it's just like Brunson will just kind of boom, boom, and just can get something up over him. It's like fucking. I mean, like you said, Brunson's a great player, like, but it's just the grifting is so fucking annoying.
Right. And so again, I love the hack of putting Brown on him. I think is awesome. And then again, when Luke's playing that well, you can shift Al over to Towns and still have a rim protector behind him. Like that's great. Also, Towns is only going to play like 20 minutes if you just keep making him fucking defend because he cannot play without fouling. The Luke thing seemed to neutralize Mitch. So again, Knicks will make some adjustments. They'll come back. I'm sure they'll play much better at home. Obviously,
the refs are going to be brutal next game with fouling out Brunson too. You have to be ready for that.
I'm sure.
But they also probably want that game 7.
Yeah, we thinking they're gonna pull out the extender? We getting another Scotty Foster tonight? Or
The Scotty
soon?
Foster. Yeah, we need the extender call him in.
Yeah, it's questionable. It's questionable stuff. But man, I'm excited. What a night!
I was gonna say, do you got anything else on this game in particular, or do you want to kind of look into a little bit of what we think for Game 6? I think we even mentioned Pritchard. I think we got to mention Pritchard. Pritchard was on
him a
fire
couple times
tonight.
in passing. He was awesome.
Okay.
Needed him to step up as kind of the third guy on offense.
Yeah, and he had an absolutely great game. I think he finished with like 17 points or something like that. Right. 17 points, 5 rebounds. He made 5 threes. Again, he was letting it fly as he should, as he's going to have to. This is what we're going to need out of him. But he had a great game. He's everywhere. He deserves some more minutes too, and at least a shout out on our part.
No, and I guess if there's anything that I want to just reiterate, it's that as we kind of go through each guy and talk about how they stepped up, I think that's kind of the point, is how it really was a total team effort. Where it's like everyone stepped up, but no one stepped out of their own lane. It was like everyone just did a little bit more and all kind of combined to pull the extra weight as a total team. And you saw that's just like,
we weren't like trying to make up all of Tatum's with just one guy.
No one went in there and it seemed like they were trying to be like, all right, relax. Like, that's not you. It was just like everyone was doing 10% more of them.
Which is,
and
it was beautiful stuff.
It was. It really, I mean, this is, again, it's like I said, that's the one frustrating thing is like, all right, why did you need Tatum to go down to just start playing like this? Because a lot of the stuff, it's not like we can't play like that with Tatum. So again, I know butterfly effect, mindset, whatever, this, that, the other. All that stuff. I'm not trying to actually explain it away, but it makes it frustrating to watch.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, part of it is just like now the fucking rubber's really hitting the fucking road. Like the backs are really down 3-1 would have been down bad enough. Down 3-1 without Tatum. Now it's fucking
right.
It's like what's it? I'm sorry. Go ahead. What are you saying?
Well, no, I was just saying it's even so much more frustrating because like even if you just pulled out one of those stupid first 2 games. Like, one different play, basically make one more 3 in games 1 or 2, pull out one of those, and suddenly now we're up 3-2 going there, and it's like, you're really like, all right, I still feel great, where it's just like the fact that we had to be down 3-1, just so much frustration.
If we switched to Luke earlier, we probably sweep this team.
I hate to say it, but I really...
But if you want to talk butterfly effect, which I don't want to talk butterfly effect on that.
Yeah, right. No, that exactly. You can't dwell on the past. It's over, and we're still more than alive here in the present and the future. So again, if and when the season eventually ends, hopefully in, the mid-June, we can reflect back on everything that happened along the way and talk about how much of a scare this was because of all the dumb games.
Start of the championship DVD.
Exactly.
All right. Let's talk about game 6. I mentioned it. Celtics +2 going into that game. All the pressure in the world is going to be on the Knicks. That's a do or die kind of. It's obviously a do or die for us. It's not a must win for the Knicks. It's a can't lose though for the Knicks. I'd say obviously a must win for us. But I'm saying Celtics, and I wanted to say this only because I just saw this. I was doing some work earlier. That +2, hammer it, baby. If you're watching YouTube, I got the hammer out, and I'm gonna hammer the shit out of that +2. C's are making this game to 7. I think we just got the Luke thing, we figured it out, and the Knicks aren't going to be able to adjust fast enough. The Knicks are going to shit their pants. Chamalay, Spike Lee, all those guys never have so much pressure. Whatever they said in the last game, they said, this game 4 may be the biggest game in Knicks history. No. Game 6 is, and they're going to fuck it up. And I need it.
Oh, need it bad.
I'm back, baby.
Need it bad. I'm pumped too, but I think also along with the Luke, it was like, there was an edge, and I think it was in that play, the double technicals with Brown and Hart, where he kind of pushed him back. So I think we have been letting them run around with this like scrappy bully mindset. Not that they're like punking us or like pushing us around, but they definitely.
We just kind of thought we were above it, like we were living in like
a little brother energy that's almost like annoying. And tonight it was like we finally snapped back and was like, all right, enough. And like Jaylen, I thought getting that tech, I would love to see. Was that like right when we kind of started that run too? Because that definitely shifted some energy. No, I think it was about that. Yeah, that was a big moment. So it's like bring that. So again, I just like this like nothing to lose attitude. Go out. We're the fucking champs. We're not going down without a fight. If they lose, so be it. Just leave everything on the court. Go out there, leave it on the court. Pride. Show your Celtic pride. Play like you did tonight. If the shots don't fall, you lose.
That we gotta beat them now. No more moral victory.
100%.
This was our moral victory. And it was a regular victory. Now 100%. I want it all, baby. I want to get greedy again.
Definitely. I'm excited. I wish Game 6 started tonight. I'm ready.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. No, I think we need some rest, but
we probably need a little bit of rest. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So that'll be what's that, Friday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Friday.
All right. Friday. That's gonna be big.
Yeah.
That's gonna be big.
Yes.
All right.
So
you got anything else on this game, or do you want to give out our Chuddy Chains?
I mean, I could go on long for a while. I do want to just mention, I thought it was hilarious that at one point Reggie Miller asked, "Is that Luke Kornet or Hakeem Olajuwon?" Which we shit on Reggie a lot, and he is annoying. But I will say he's like, they make those charts where it sometimes is like smart, evil, smart, dumb, like good, good. There's like the quadrants. It's like Reggie is like good, dumb. Like I think he's bad, but he's like good heart. He just loves basketball, and he's always like complimentary of everyone. He's not like
the fuck out of me.
Exactly. I'm saying he's extremely annoying, but it's not the kind of annoying of like Perk and Steven. He's not just like trolling and like shitting on people and saying shit.
I think he believes what he's saying.
He just loves the game and is like,
he just doesn't know.
But it's nice to hear some of his like over exuberance on the other, because I can just imagine if I'm a Knicks fan and he's like, "Oh, this is Luke Kornet or Hakeem Olajuwon," I'd be like, "Shut the fuck up."
That's probably true too.
So,
well, yeah, announcers have that. The national announcers have that, where it's just like anytime they say something good about the Celtics,
of course,
I'm not even paying attention. And then the second they're like, "Oh, the Knicks are doing this pretty well," I'm like, "Oh, of course you want to fucking suck the Knicks dick." Like, oh, great.
That's why I did want to just shout him out, because that was a great line, and that was shades of Tommy Heinsohn calling Greg Steamsma Bill Russell. Like, what an outrageous comp to just pull out of nowhere. But I mean, it was outrageous.
Neither one of those comps was outrageous at the moment. Yeah, at the time.
As Luke was trending towards a 10-10-10 with fucking blocks.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive too. Reggie Miller going from earlier in the series saying that Luke Kornet's fouls to Mitchell Robinson were expendable to now comparing him to a Hakeem Olajuwon.
And saying that
5 short games.
He mentioned it. Do you hear him? Because when the Celtics did hack a Mitch in the first or whatever in the third quarter, he's like, in the first game it was Luke giving the fouls. He's like, now Derrick White's running over because they can't afford to have Luke like off the floor. So I was like, all right, he at least realized.
See, you get
and
it.
It was true.
I honestly think a lot of people,
true.
like I said, if you don't watch the Celtics, if you haven't watched the Celtics all year.
Right.
You don't realize, like, because like last year, he was kind of like the goofy, like white guy we put in. We're up a lot and play some like minutes here or there. But now, like, no, he's like a bona fide stud.
100%.
He is like,
and we weren't expecting it either going into this year. We thought it was going to be Tillman and Al and Porzingis. We were thinking like, maybe we'll see what we can get from these guys. But no, it's been an absolute revelation, and hard not to be excited about Luke for right now, and like I said, for beyond.
We're focused on right now, though.
Of course. But also, I will say, this is still a focus on right now, but as you alluded to, like, because I think it was part of this game where it was all doom and gloom after last game with the Tatum situation. Everyone was all, not just even about this series, about, now we're going to this is the end of this team. Everyone's going to get traded. We're going to tank. The Celtics aren't even going to be watchable. End of an era, all that. Which obviously is getting carried away, but also, like, tonight did get me fired up in the sense of, like, all right, even this team, think of how bad the fucking bottom of the East is and all those teams that are really trying to tank. We would have to get so far down to actually be that bad. Like, we'd have to get rid of everyone who played tonight.
It's unrealistic. It's just...
And also, like, we love Jayson Tatum, obviously. And we're crushed about what happened, but we're fucking Celtics fans. We're going to watch that team no matter who's on the court. And there's going to be fired up to see, like, 82 games of Pritchard and Luke starting with fucking Brown and White. These guys going to war every night. Like,
we're not talking about next year. We're not talking about next year.
As much as it sucks, though, I'm like fired up about like it was definitely a dark moment where it's like, oh my god, like how are we even going to podcast next year? It's going to be the most depressing season ever, and it's like, no, we're going to be good. We're going to be good. So again, we're not there yet.
That's what I'm saying. This was such a needed win.
Exactly.
Such a needed win.
Just performance in general.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, all right. Let's give out some Chuddy Chains.
Let's go.
This portion of the show is, and we'll have a little bit of an update on Tatum too and around the NBA. I figure we'll just talk a little bit about that around.
That's
the NBA.
fair.
But this portion of Chuddy's Corner is brought to you by Mario's Roofing, Mario's Siding, Mario's Windows, Mario's. You just got to call Mario's. At Mario's, we pride ourselves on quality, safety, and value. We wouldn't do anything to your home that we wouldn't do to our own. Call Mario's today. Tell them Chuddy's Corner sent you. You can get $50 off your installation. Ask them about their summer specials coming up. We are getting close to summertime. Summer specials. Give Mario's a call, 781-344-2420. You can also always visit them on the web at mariosroofing.com. Mario's Roofing, We won't soak you in order to keep you warm and dry. All right. Game 5, Chuddy Chain. You've been taking the odd numbered games to start, so go ahead, shock us all with your Chuddy Chain today.
No, I will leave the low hanging fruit for you on this one, and I will give it to Jaylen Brown, because obviously we talked about how the Luke was the biggest thing, but for Jaylen to show up tonight as the leader of this team, the Finals MVP, and again to get it done like that on both ends, taking on their best player defensively from the tap, making that incredible hustle play, truly like. It was like that old Dennis Rodman poster where his body was like vertical, parallel to the floor, full verticality, diving out of bounds, making plays like that. He's blocking shots, he's making steals, and then just playing so brilliantly on offense, doing the right play over and over and over again. So, again, for him to come out where he's probably not 100%. He's been playing through a knee injury, but you wouldn't have known it based on the way he played tonight. And again, just so proud of the team and of him as the leader of the team tonight in Jason's absence. So, just for what he did on the court, I'm gonna give him the Chuddy Chain.
Yeah, I mean that's probably who I would have gone with otherwise. So I guess I'll have to give mine. Obviously, not have to. I shouldn't say like it's some kind of chore.
You gotta do.
Well, no. I'm saying just didn't mean to sound like I guess I'll have to give my Chuddy Chain.
Right. Yeah.
I proudly give my Chuddy Chain, obviously, to Luke Kornet. We spent the first 12 minutes of the show talking about him. So if you're just joining us now on the live feed. We talked a lot of cool stuff about Luke. Subscribe to the pod, check it all out. But I will say, just a monster game for the guy. When he got his chance, he absolutely stepped up. It's one of those things where I feel like, and again, we don't know how Joe came to the decision. We don't know if at halftime he said, hey, look, I'm doing this. Or if, like, Luke maybe even may have just been, well, no, hold on. Let me get my speech here. We don't, like, Luke may have just been like, you know what? The next time he fucking puts me in there, I'm going to make it so he can't take me out of there. And he just put it the fucking work. I mean, he had some blocks right away.
I thought you were saying Luke's got up there in the locker room, gave Joe the like, I'm the captain now. Like,
that would have been fucking sick.
I'm starting.
That's a good GIF idea. That's a good GIF idea, though.
Yeah. Maybe we can run with that. Listen, until the story comes out,
I like either one of those. I think I'm just as comfortable saying that Luke walked up to Joe and said, "You put me in this fucking game, and you keep me in this fucking game," and then Joe said, "I actually love that you just threatened my life, so yeah, you're
That's
in."
possible.
Or Porzingis was like, "Coach, remember the Titans thing? Coach, like I'm getting beat out there," and he goes, "You want him to go take your job? You go tell him yourself." And then Porzingis said, "Luke, get out there, bud." I'll take either one of those. But anyway, I'll give my Chuddy Chain to Kornet because he's a fucking beast. He almost had a triple-double with blocks.
Unreal.
And I just want to see so much Luke Kornet in Game 6. All the Luke Kornet.
Only the 7th player in NBA history with 7 or more blocks off the bench in a playoff game.
So sick. I tweeted out earlier during the game. I said I need to see at least 25 Luke Kornet minutes tonight.
Yeah,
I need it.
And I mean, I hate to go that route.
Yeah, 26.
Oh, all right. How much? I bet 19 of those were in the second half. But either way,
I think he only had 5 minutes or something in the first.
Maybe even more. But yeah, no. I mean, we've been clamoring for 30 minutes of Kornet if this is the version of Porzingis we're going to get, and I think again, if next game starts and they're still trotting Porzingis out there, I'll be extremely baffled and annoyed.
We do like Porzingis though, but it just doesn't happen.
Nothing personal on him. I would say the same if they had, J.D. Davison starting the game or Jordan Walsh.
Massive three. I had someone say, "Who was that just did a three?" I go, "Oh, that guy, leading main Celtics scorer of all time, G League MVP." Kidding me? J.D. Davidson, bro. All right. Why don't you go ahead and pay some bills, and then we'll do some around the NBA chat.
Absolutely. Chuddy's Corner is proudly sponsored by Nick Perino Real Estate. Go to nickperino.com for all of your real estate needs, whether you're buying, selling, renting, leasing, anything in the world of real estate. Just want to get started, don't know where to look. Look no further than Nick at nickperino.com. That's nickperino.com. Real estate world is overwhelming. It's daunting. It can be very tough to get in there. You need someone in your corner who you can trust, who will give you that honest personal relationship, someone you can count on to make these huge decisions for you, for your money, for your family. That's why you want a guy like Nick, a good family man himself, a good Celtics fan, a huge Chuddy head. One of the biggest reasons the lights are on at Chuddy's Corner, the OG sponsor of the show. He will do anything for the show. He'll do anything for the Celtics, and he will do anything for you, his customers in real estate, dugouts, and myself, we can both speak from experience, having worked with Nick, and he will do the same for you. He will help you through the entire process, go above and beyond to make sure
I always
you
go
are
to
happy
talk during the ad read and have my
with
mic
your living
off. I was
situation.
saying, Nick Perino put me in these walls. Good man.
Yes, he built this house from the ground up. So yeah, Nick, I'm sure he's relieved, and we're all relieved. We don't have to do a wellness check on him tonight. He's certainly happy with that Celtics performance, and let me tell you, he was on top of it too, because I got a text from him within the first 3 minutes of the game.
Was he at the game?
He wasn't there tonight, but he was texting me very early on about how Porzingis had to get off the floor. So he's right there in the trenches. So it's not just one of those things where he's, pretending to be a Celtics fan for the sponsorship. Like, he does the sponsorship because he loves the Celtics so much. It's a true passion project for him. He's extremely passionate about this. So again, that's why Nick Perino, the official realtor of Chuddy's Corner.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Nick. Love you, Nick.
I do believe he said if there was a Game 7, he will be in the house. So
I don't know though, but he was at Game 1.
Can we let him go? You're saying?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think he should give us those tickets, to be perfectly honest.
He might have to. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see how much he really cares about the Celtics.
Gotta get there first.
That's true. Yeah. What are we talking about? Jesus Christ, that's awful. There's only a Game 6 on the schedule right now. It's all that matters.
Correct.
That's brutal. I don't like that we did that. We'll have to cut that.
Intern.
All right.
Cut this.
Why don't you go ahead and give us a little round? Do you want to start just with the Tatum stuff, or do you want to?
Yeah, sure.
I guess we'll
you obviously know by now, but
the news is official. But I was reading something about like the actual procedure that they think that he got, the speed bridge technique.
Yeah.
I mean, that night I was becoming an absolute medical expert with all the different things. Of course, every single positive thing I found turned out not to be right. It was a ruptured Achilles. He had the surgery. He had that picture today of him like you see the picture he posted in the hospital bed? Just looks absolutely just probably fried on like painkillers, whatever. And then I don't know if you heard during the game there, Reggie Miller's like, Jayson Tatum actually just texted me. I'm like, I'm just picturing him like sitting in his like hospital bed, just like absolutely messed up on whatever the hell they gave him, and just being like, I gotta text Reg, like this is fucking great. So
I also in my head was just envisioning him texting him, just shitting on his commentary because he like never actually watches the game, just the whole time being like, dude, Kornet is good. Shut the fuck up. Like, what are you talking about? Like, just like,
and then Reggie's like, no, everything's great.
Like, Jason did this, and me just scrolling through all this. Like, all right, dude.
Trying to find one positive thing to say. He did say this.
It seemed like they're like friends, and in reality, Tatum's just like, if you don't fucking shut the fuck up.
I was picturing someone else had tweeted this too, so they got to. I had the idea, but they got the tweet first of. Again, I don't know why I'm on a big Remember the Titans kick right now, but
great film.
Great. I mean, yeah, it's a great movie. But when the Bertier's in the hospital and he's like cheering for the team, and the nurse comes in like, what's the matter? He's like, don't come in here. I'm just picturing that's how Tatum was like watching this game, just like going nuts. So Anyway,
love that.
So he's having the surgery. What I was saying with that speed bridge, what's that? He already had the surgery. Yeah, he had the surgery. What I was saying though with the speed bridge technique is the PAR and the speed bridge, two newer in a way type of procedures, and it sounds like the speed bridge one is the one that has like the fastest recovery time, like not by a whole lot, but it's also like supposedly the one that a lot of like football players will do. I think it's one that Aaron Rodgers did. I guess depending on where you stand on Aaron Rodgers' medical advice, maybe that's bad news for you to hear. He's doing the Aaron Rodgers Achilles healing.
But I don't think that's the best comp, obviously, for a not very mobile 40-year-old, like, small quarterback.
Well, yeah. But I'm more saying, like, the turnaround time.
Yeah. Well, right. But was it even a turnaround time with Rodgers? Because we don't even know the turnaround time, because he's like, well, I would have played if we were in the playoffs. It's like, no, you weren't. Like, nobody actually thought he was ready to play when he said he was.
True.
And he never played. And he just was like, well, I could have played. I was like, but that wasn't ever. It's like Kramer making the bet, and he's like, well, I could have done it if I wanted to. It's like, that wasn't the bet. It's like no, but if I wanted to, I could have done it. It's like, that's not the bet. So it's kind of like that. But I mean, I will say from what I heard, he got the procedure that was riskier, and it almost, I think they said more than half the time there's like something goes wrong with it, and nothing did. So that was actually really positive that the first time it was clean.
It's risky in
like
the procedure.
Not like that something can go wrong. It just usually doesn't like go perfectly the first time. There's a lot of complications, and there were no complications with his surgery, which I guess is just like great news and not super common. So like if there were complications, it would have been normal. that there were in a way, if that makes sense. But anyway, I was reading something and they were basically saying it's like the best news how the surgery went. I also love the fact that by the time we found out it was a ruptured Achilles, he had already had the surgery, which for one just speaks to that Celtics locker room is like, Brad's not leaking shit, which we already knew from like the trades that always come out of nowhere, and that none of the rumors people say now that Ainge is gone and isn't feeding stories to like Steve Bulpett and Bob Ryan, it's like, oh fuck, it's all just like people speculating, and it's been consistently wrong. And all the moves Brad has actually made have basically come out of nowhere. Like, I don't think anything's leaked that I can remember. And I mean, even the fucking Ime story never really leaked, which is the craziest thing of all, going back in time. Like, the fact that it is still, an ironclad, we don't really know shit about it. Like, that's impressive. So that's cool. And also the fact that Tatum, like, I feel like that just speaks to who he is, right? Like, obviously, no one's wasting any time. But the fact that next morning he already got the surgery is like, that's his attitude. That gets me fired up. And he's like, I'm not wasting a fucking second. Let's go right now. So, like, the next second I can be good, I'm good to go. And everything went well. Everything's on course. And I think it was Mark Spears talking about it today. He said 8 to 9 months. So I don't know if that's true, but I did a little math in my head. 8 to 9 months would leave us right around February, the All-Star break next year. So
I was saying that it might just be a good idea just to buy tickets like every like February, March game or whatever.
Might be. But also, even if that moment, it's going to be like, I don't even know if I'm going to want it. Well, there'll be a lot of factors at that point. But it's like, if it's the end of the season and he's ready to play. But just in terms of,
I do have a little bit more on the speed bridge technique. I just got a little bit of like how it works. So
bonus episode, all Achilles.
Yeah. Well, I like I said, I spent a lot of time with some medical doctors that night.
I don't think you're alone on that.
Yeah, spent all night, tweeting with some medical doctors. Anyway, speed bridge. It's basically like it says step 1 makes incision. Step 2 clean. Step 3 suture anchors, and then other stronger suture anchors are threaded through the tendon and anchors, forming a, quote, speed bridge configuration that distributes pressure and provides a strong fixation. So some of the pros to this is a stronger fixation. The suture design distributes it more easily, reducing the risk of re-tearing. It's minimally invasive. It's got faster recovery potential, lower re-rupture rates. All the cons I'm reading are all kind of like, one of them is just the cost. You don't give a shit about that. Cost, okay, go ahead. Yeah, fine by me.
Fair, no expense. Are you kidding me?
Implant complications and nerve damage. I think that's kind of like what you were saying, the stuff where it's like, hopefully that's like beyond. I don't want to say too much stuff like we're out of the woods because we don't know. But some of these cons is like not always ideal for chronic tears. I mean, hopefully this isn't a fucking chronic tear, So the pros seem pretty good. Best candidates are active individuals or athletes. Perfect. That's exactly what he is.
Yeah.
He's that.
Yeah, and I know that it was the same surgery and the same guy performed it as the guy who did Durant's Achilles and Tiger's surgery, so pretty good company, I would say. And I mean, Durant is kind of like the ideal situation because obviously, in terms of
a little older
6'10", 6'11" basketball, like obviously Tatum and Durant have plenty of differences. I'm not saying that, but in terms of finding someone who's pretty similar in terms of like the 1.1 percentile on Earth, that's pretty close. And Durant is like the face of successful recoveries from this exact injury and surgery. So, I mean, in that sense, like Durant basically at the time, like no one did that. He almost kind of like was defying the odds at that age with going through that whole thing, coming back and being more or less just as good. I mean, it's hard to even honestly say at this point how much of like his slight fall off because he's still really good at this, even at this age. And that was 5 years ago now, 6 years ago.
Didn't he like lead the league in scoring the first year back after his Achilles or came close to it?
Which was like, again, miraculous for anyone to recover that fast and be that good. So again, like if he dropped off, it was very, very minor. And I think, the argument in the other direction would be that Durant's game is so predicated on like finesse and just his unbelievable jump shooting. But like where Tatum, I think, is good at those things, but not to the extent Durant is, and he's a little more reliant on like his strength, athleticism, those things would be the argument against it. But anyway, a lot of this is stuff that's over our pay grade, so we've got time in the off season. We'll certainly get a true expert with the degree in medicine on the show to talk Achilles and stuff like that, and provide some updates in some of the quieter months for sure. But for now, a lot of speculation.
I consider myself an expert on the Achilles at this point. But anyway, we got some other series to talk about.
We're already thinking of like the positives, and when we'll see him again and all that. So
exactly. It's
got 2 rough days of
the
grieving.
worst thing happened. It's over now. It's like we're just coming. It's all about coming back.
Just got to face it head on.
All right. We got some other series going on around the NBA though.
Yep.
So the Timberwolves, Warriors. This is one that kind of always ends up being on as we're recording. So it was on. The last time we were recording, the Timberwolves ended up winning. Looks like right now they're up big at the half. Well, they're up about 15 at the half.
Yeah.
Without
just
Steph
opened that
Curry
lead up.
on the Warriors, that's like a pretty huge lead. Obviously, if Steph Curry's out there, that's not as big of a lead.
Very true.
This series, I feel like it's pretty much over, right? I don't know. I think it'll be done. By the time you listen to this podcast, that series is probably over.
It very, very likely could be. I mean, the one thing, obviously, is if the Warriors can win, there'd be 3 days off before the next game. And that's the one when supposedly Curry might be ready to come back. So that throws enough of a wrench in there that if they can somehow survive this one half, get all the magic of the Warriors over the years to combine for this one half to get you to Curry, then I'm not writing anyone off. But at the time of taping, it'd be a borderline miracle. So I
it's
think
looking great.
And good for the fucking Timberwolves. Back-to-back Western Conference Finals, assuming they do.
Yeah.
We'll talk more when we preview the next round, but who saw that coming?
No, not during the year. Yeah, I guess they were just.
But I mean, even last year, they kind of came out of nowhere, and I think even last year people were like, "All right, like whoa,
fluke."
And then, but then to back it up this year, where they were again written off, 2 trades. Also, like they made the Gobert trade, everyone shit on them, and then it was like, oh shit,
worked out. Yeah.
And then same here, they did the Cat trade, everyone shit on them, and now Randall is fucking balling. Everyone's like, oh, maybe this Tim Connolly guy actually is pretty good at this and knows what he's doing. So good for them. Good, and I love it. Great for the NBA, for a market like that to build that way, and show that, like, hey, any team, if you're just run by guys who aren't dumbasses and you're not complete cheapskates, you can be good in any market, it turns out.
That's crazy. It's a pretty novel concept.
Well, you'd think.
All right, so sticking in the West, the Nuggets OKC played yesterday. OKC won 112 to 105. They took a 3-2 series lead.
What a game.
It looks like, OKC kind of took this one over in the fourth. Yeah, great game.
Instant classic.
Go ahead, tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, this was the one we've been waiting for. Both MVP candidates showed up, balled out. Jokic, another 40-burger. He was just
45, 15, and 5.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And credit to David Adelman and the Nuggets for the job he's done in as interim coach, taking over. And, like, he hasn't made a bunch of jump changes that are, like, drastic and jump off the page. But the way he's mixing defensive schemes, they're doing a variety of different zones. They're jumping into different kinds of man coverages. They're throwing everything at Shea. And this is a team that we talked about all year in the regular season. Their defense was below average. They've been incredible in this series with the same personnel. It's not like they suddenly have elite defenders. It's just the schemes and the way they're switching coverages is confusing Shea as much as anyone has all year long. So huge credit to them. He finally kind of started to solve some stuff. And to me, in this fourth quarter, the Nuggets at one point, they were up by 12, 80 to 68. And I'm starting to think, holy shit, does the regular season just mean absolutely nothing? And then in the fourth quarter, it all shifted. And honestly, the story of it was a tale of 2 sides that kind of will define the entire MVP discussion for this whole season. You had, in the fourth quarter, Jokic kept being incredible. He scored 13 points in the fourth quarter. He was, I think, 5 of 7 shooting, 2 made his threes, whatever. The entire rest of the Nuggets, all the rest of the players, 6 points, 1 of 15 shooting. Not a single guy on the team joined them at the party. It was all Jokic. They left him out there fending for himself. Porter Jr., we talked about, he's playing with one arm. He couldn't get it going. It was a brutal Russ night where he was airballing everything in sight. Murray had a good game, fell apart in the fourth quarter, shot way too many. Gordon wasn't quite the star he's been. It was just Jokic. And then on the other end, SGA's supporting cast finally came through. Lou Dort hit 3 threes in a row when they were down 9. That got them to back within 1, got the crowd back into it. Chet and Hartenstein each had a couple of huge finishes around the rim. And it was J-Dub, Jaylen Williams, who hit the biggest 3 of the night that ended up being the game winner. And the other Jaylen Williams, Jay Will, out of nowhere, how they're dusting him off. He's coming in and being the Jokic stopper with the defense he's playing. So it kind of just speaks to the difference where it's out there and it's like, you just compare the 2 guys. It's like, yeah, Jokic might be better, but you see the supporting cast. That's why the Thunder were 18 games better in the regular season. That's why they are up 3-2, pulled that one out. And it was all those guys. And then when it was time to go truly win, Shea took over, scored all 10 of his points in the last, I think, 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, where he's like, it's my turn now. He took it home. So it was good because I think we had felt kind of unfulfilled where it's like, the Thunder still look better, but this isn't exactly convincing me that Shea should be the MVP. This was like the true. It's like, all right, both MVPs showed up, both balled out. And again, not really Jokic's fault in any way, but the Thunder and SGA pulling it out, I think, is kind of emblematic of the whole season and why he probably will win the MVP award. So again, as we keep saying, as whenever we say, oh, well, good job by Denver, good run, they come back and prove us wrong. So I'm fully expecting that they'll still come back and somehow get this to a game 7, and that would be absolutely incredible. But this was a great game. I mean, that one last night, that's one that I'll be flipping through NBA TV in the summertime years from now, and I'll see, OKC Denver, game 5. Yep, I'll give that a rewatch, no doubt. So awesome game. 2 awesome teams. Just fucking basketball. So sick.
Yeah, no, basketball's great.
So good. So
we should pod about it.
Down anytime.
We should do a pod. All right. And the last game, the East, one half of the Eastern Conference Finals is set. The Pacers close out the Cavs 4-1 in the series. 114-105 last night. Halliburton had 31 points. Nembhard had 18 points. He's a bad man. Siakam had 21. Mitchell was back. He played 35 and 9. He had a good game.
Clearly hurt.
Just
clearly playing on a bad
credit to him for playing, but
yeah. But I mean, the thing that I came away from this series is just like there's nothing fluky about this. The Pacers are just a better team. They're just better on offense. They're better in defense. They've got fucking dogs. They got a better coach. Like, you just have to give them credit. So I think everyone's going to want to make this something about, oh my God, the Cavs won 64 games, lost, Atlanta Hawks memes, blah, 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 whatever. But I think to me, it's more just like, I think there were there was another really good team that we just didn't acknowledge. And again, they started 16 and 18. They had injuries. Since then, they've been right there on par with other teams. They beat the Cavs all 3 games on the road. They were the only team. They beat them 3 games in the regular season too, I think. And at least 3 times in this series. So I think the Cavs lost
6 games
all
year.
They lost 9 home games all year or something. And 6
I thought it was less than that because I saw that stat.
Well, in the playoffs, something. But either way, the Cavs basically accounted for half of their losses at home this year. The Pacers did. So, credit to the Pacers. Awesome team. And I mean, much like the Timberwolves too. To see them going back-to-back Eastern Conference Finals is fucking awesome. And even more than the Timberwolves, this to me is the team that, if you're any team in the entire NBA right now feeling down in the dumps on your franchise and being like, the league is rigged, my team will never have a chance, blah, 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 look at the Pacers as the model franchise. They have never once tanked in the history of the organization. They try every year. They make smart plays on the margins. They know who they are. They're not unrealistic about what they can do. They know they're not a destination, small market, not a huge budget, this, that, and the other, whatever. They just make smart trade after smart trade after smart trade. They targeted the guys they want. Trading Sabonis for Halliburton, stroke of fucking genius to land them a true superstar for a guy who was not as established at the time. I mean, again, I think most people thought that was a terrible trade by the Kings, even in the moment, but it still kind of took some balls to do. Obviously, that's been an incredible move. Going out there, realizing too that they had that window, going out and trading for Siakam, where a lot of people were saying, I wouldn't go trade for Siakam. They were like, no, fuck it. This is our chance to get a second star. Got him, signed him. He's been a perfect fit. Talk about Halliburton. People say he's the most overrated player in the league, which is obviously ridiculous. Siakam might be one of the most underrated players in the league, honestly. Not a lot of guys talk about him. He's like a legit star 2 ways, and it's honestly kind of weird. There's nothing sexy about his game, I guess. He's not, cracking a lot of highlight reels, but he's just fucking awesome. And you talk about it up and down the roster. Great team, built the right way through just good drafting, good trading, and smart management of your assets. Kevin Pritchard, their GM, deserves so much credit. And again, just the fact that to do it in a market like that where they have never tanked once, not one single year, through the PG iteration all the way to this iteration, just never tanking, always competing, always staying relevant, and just making good moves, taking advantage. It just shows, because all you hear right now is these teams bitching about how unfair the lottery is, of the woe is me, Utah, we've sucked for 3 years and the best we can get is the 5th pick. It's like, look at fucking what Indiana's doing over there, and then save your bitching. So, I don't know. We'll see. What can I say? I really like this Indiana team. I just think I think it's awesome for the NBA to have teams like Indiana and Minnesota. Everyone's going to be ripping on, oh my God, David Stern rolling over in his grave.
He's definitely
no,
pissed. Yeah,
this is good for the NBA. If you can sell every team being awesome and having a chance, and these 2 teams are so fun to watch. If you actually like basketball and you watch, obviously, again, we don't want it to be the Celtics, but let's say the finals ends up being Pacers Timberwolves, everyone will be making jokes about how bad that would be for the NBA. That would be an incredible, incredible basketball series. So, yeah, I love it. And I also want to say, too, I don't know if you had anything else for that game or around the NBA, but have to mention Dwight Howard's appearance on Inside the NBA. Were you watching that?
No. Was it really? Don't him and Shaq have a beef? Like a massive beef?
So he was in Shaq's spot. I think him and Shaq settled it, but I don't know if it was a joke because he said Shaq was going to now intro. They're cool. They squashed their beef, and Shaq's going to intro him at the Hall of Fame, supposedly. So I don't know how much of any of this.
I remember that he was
real or
asking
not.
him to do that. Yeah, I don't know.
But either
That's
way,
crazy. He was in his chair though. They're trolling him.
and
if they
but
do
also,
have beef, that's a hilarious troll.
It's absolutely. So, what has Dwight been playing? Like Taiwan, right? I think. Like,
Yeah, it wasn't like a whole thing about Dwight Howard, like.
So
Yeah,
I don't know,
we
but
didn't
anyway,
get into that,
in terms of his appearance, it was so clear immediately that he's not watched any basketball. At halftime, he's looking at the Nuggets box score, and he's like, "Is Dario Saric injured?" He's like, "Why don't they play him?" I was like, "Dude, Dario Saric proved himself to be completely washed and unplayable in like the 5th game of the regular season," and he's just like, "I don't get why they're not playing Dario Saric." It's like, if I was a Nuggets fan, I'd be like
died on?
pulling my fucking ears out. So that was funny, but then the funniest part ever, afterwards, like, you could tell they're not really like that good of boys with the other guy. The chemistry is there, but you could tell at the end Chuck was like, I'm just gonna tell the story. So Chuck tells the story backstage. Dwight came up to him and he's trying to make small talk with him in the back, and they're kind of talking. And he's like, and Chuck was like, I was feeling it. It was a good conversation. He's like, but I have to call you out. He's like, you asked me if I played with Wilt Chamberlain. Which was fucking hilarious. And he's like, how old do you think I am? Seriously. Dwight was like, you could tell it was really, he's like, well, I'm sorry. He's like, I knew those stupid out there. And like, well, obviously the other guys were dying. And they're just ripping on Chuck. They're like, yeah, like Chuck and George Mikan used to battle. Like, obviously just cracking jokes. I was thinking, like, Dwight is such a fucking idiot. And then he's trying to defend. He's like, well, I just like froze up. I'm like, dude, that's Chuck. Like, I'm talking to Chuck. And like, well, Chuck was just, I was crying and laughing at how hard they were ripping on him and each other. And then obviously they're showing all the memes of people making fun of Chuck for like with showing him with like the shooting on the peach basket and all this. And it's just,
that's good.
Great stuff off
inside
the NBA. So
we gotta tweet that around the NBA crew more, huh?
Yeah,
we gotta get in the mix there.
Awesome stuff. So great appearance. If you haven't seen
right.
it, you gotta catch him calling him out live in the air for asking him if he played with the just off by about 25 years.
Close.
Assuming Chuck is like 85. He'd have to be like 90 years old.
Yeah, well, it's not. Yeah, no, he wasn't a new guy or anything. Yeah. All right,
I was just dying.
That's a wrap for us tonight.
Great show.
We will be back Friday. Another Chuddy's Corner rolls on. Celtics roll on. Game 6. Let's go out there and just fucking do it. Let's go. Shock World will be a good time. Thank you for listening. If you're listening to us live on our Twitter account at Chuddy's Corner. If you want to hear us after the games right away, if you don't like to have to wait for the new episodes of the pub, check us out at Chuddy's Corner on X, and you'll be able to hit that live stream. If not, keep checking us out on YouTube. Keep checking us out wherever you get your podcast at. Hit that subscribe button. We appreciate all the support. Bunch of new Chuddy heads during the playoffs. It's good to have you guys all along for the ride. Welcome to the Chuddyverse, and we will see you back here on Friday for Game 6.
Peace out, Chuddy heads.
Take care.